Enjoy stories that make you think, stories that stay with you long after the video ends, then like this video and subscribe now. Not later, not at the end, now. Because this story isn't about entertainment only. It's about curiosity, about the questions we were taught to stop asking. Let's begin. When Sami was 7 years old, adults found him exhausting. Not because he was loud, not because he misbehaved, but because he asked why. Why is the sky blue and not green? Why does soap disappear when we wash our hands? Why do some people have so much while others have nothing? Most adults answered once, some answered twice, then they stopped. At school, his teacher would pause mid-lesson, already tired. "Sami, just write what's on the board," she said gently but firmly. At home, relatives laughed. "This boy will talk himself into trouble," they said. Smart children listen more than they speak. Little by little, Sami learned a quiet lesson no one meant to teach him. Questions were welcome, only when they were convenient. So he practiced being quiet. By the time Sami reached secondary school, his notebooks were perfect. His handwriting was neat, his answers matched the textbook exactly. Teachers liked him now. He's disciplined. He doesn't disturb the class. But something had changed. Sami no longer felt excited when he learned something new. He felt relief when lessons ended. Learning had become a performance, not a discovery. One evening, the electricity went out again. The house fell into darkness, followed by the familiar sounds of frustration. Phones were useless, television silent, dinner delayed. Sami climbed to the roof, where the air was cooler. His grandfather was already there, sitting on a low wooden stool, staring at the stars like he was reading something only for him. Sami sat beside him. After a long silence, he spoke. "Grandpa, why does electricity fail so often?" His grandfather didn't answer right away. Instead, he asked, "Do you really want to know, or do you want a quick answer?" Sami thought for a moment. "I want to know." That made the old man smile. The next evening, his grandfather brought out strange things from a small metal box. Old wires, a flashlight bulb, a battery, pieces of broken radio parts. "People think knowledge lives only in books," he said, "but it lives in questions first." That night, he didn't just explain electricity. He showed how energy moves, why systems break, how small failures grow into big ones. When Sami asked more questions, his grandfather didn't stop him. Sometimes he said, "I don't know." Sometimes he said, "Let's test it." Sometimes he said, "That's a better question than the one I asked." Under the stars, Sami felt something return: curiosity. The next week at school, the science teacher explained evaporation. Water changes into vapor. Heat causes movement. Clouds form. The class copied every word. Sami felt his hand rise before he could stop it. What if evaporation didn't exist? What would happen to rivers, to rain, to farming? The room went quiet. A few students turned around. The teacher paused. For a moment, Sami thought he had made a mistake. Then the teacher smiled. "That," she said slowly, "is not in the textbook, but it's the most important question today." She closed the book, and for the first time that year, the class talked instead of copied. Not everyone liked the new Sami. Some classmates said he was showing off. Some teachers preferred silence. But something had changed inside him. Sami learned that education was not about never being wrong, it was about being brave enough to think. He stopped memorizing only for exams. He started connecting ideas. History was no longer dates, it was decisions. Science was no longer formulas, it was consequences. Years later, Sami didn't graduate as the top student, but when problems appeared, People turned to him, not because he had all the answers, but because he asked the right questions. And sometimes that changed everything. Because the world doesn't move forward on answers alone. It moves forward because someone, somewhere, refuses to stop asking why. If this story reminded you of your younger self, or of someone who once asked too many questions, take a moment. Like this video. It helps stories like this reach people who need them. Subscribe if you want more quiet, meaningful stories that teach without shouting. And share this video with someone who still believes that asking why matters. Because the world doesn't change all at once. It changes one curious mind at a time. Thank you for listening. See you in the next story.